Why does it hurt so much to let go of someone who doesn't love you? It's not just about losing them, it's about losing the version of yourself that existed in their eyes. Carl Jung believed that our deepest heartbreaks aren't just about love, they're about identity. When someone walks away, they take a piece of our unconscious self with them, and that's why the pain cuts so deep. Unrequited love doesn't just leave us longing for another person, it leaves us grieving the future we imagined, the person we hoped to be beside them, and even the parts of ourselves we only recognized in their presence. But what if this pain isn't just an ending? What if it's an invitation? Carl Jung, the pioneering psychologist, taught that our greatest emotional struggles are often doorways to profound self-discovery. The agony of clinging to someone who doesn't love us isn't a sign of weakness. It's a signal that something within us is calling to be seen, healed, and reclaimed. Why it hurts so much? When we love someone who doesn't love us back, the agony runs deeper than loneliness. It shakes the foundation of how we see ourselves. Carl Jung would argue that this suffering isn't just about the other person's absence, it's about what we've unconsciously attached to them. We don't just miss them, we miss the version of ourselves that felt seen, desired, or complete in their presence. Jung called this phenomenon projection, the act of casting our unmet needs, unrealized potential, or unresolved wounds onto another person. Maybe they represented the love you never received as a child, the confidence you wish you had, or the future you desperately wanted to believe in. When they leave, it feels like they're taking those pieces with them, because, in a way, they are. You're not just grieving a person, you're grieving the loss of a mirror that reflected back something you couldn't yet give yourself. This pain isn't random, it's often wired into us long before we ever met this person. Attachment theory teaches that our earliest relationships, with parents or caregivers, create a blueprint for how we love as adults. If you grew up feeling insecure, dismissed, or emotionally starved, your adult attachments may replay those same dynamics. For example, if love felt unpredictable in childhood, you might cling to inconsistent partners, hoping to finally win their affection. If you were taught that your worth depended on being needed, you might confuse suffering with devotion. The person you're struggling to let go of might not just be a lover, they could be a subconscious attempt to heal an old wound. But here's the hard truth. No one else can fill the gaps you weren't taught to fill yourself. On the surface, rejection hurts because it triggers primal fears of abandonment. But Jung would take it further. When someone withdraws their love, it doesn't just wound your heart, it shatters the illusion that your self-worth depends on their validation. Your ego, the part of you that constructs identity, relies on external feedback to feel real. When they walk away, it's not just a relationship ending, it's a verdict on your lovability. That's why the pain can feel existential, as if you're disappearing along with their attention. But this crisis is also an opportunity. The ego's collapse forces you to confront a pivotal question. Who are you when no one is watching? The first and most difficult step in letting go isn't about moving forward, it's about looking inward. Before you can release someone else, you must confront what their presence, or absence, reveals about you. This is where shadow work begins. According to Jung, the shadow represents the parts of ourselves we refuse to acknowledge, our deepest insecurities, suppressed desires, and hidden fears. When we obsess over someone who doesn't love us, it's often because they've become a vessel for these disowned parts of our psyche. For example, the fear of being unlovable might masquerade as hope. If I just try harder, they'll stay. The shame of needing love might disguise itself as anger. They led me on. A childhood wound of abandonment might replay as desperation. I can't survive without them. To dismantle this, ask yourself, what am I really afraid of losing? Is it the person, or the validation, safety, or identity they provided? Be brutally honest. The more you avoid this question, the longer the shadow controls you. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about recognizing that the grip this person has on you isn't really about them. It's about the unmet needs and unresolved stories you've attached to them. As Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The anguish of unrequited love often stems from a psychological illusion we seldom recognize. We're not really pining for the actual person, we're longing for the version of them we've created in our minds. Jung revealed this phenomenon as projection, the unconscious act of casting our unlived potentials, unmet needs, and unrealized qualities onto someone else. When we idealize another person, we're essentially seeing a reflection of what we crave to recognize in ourselves. This explains why the withdrawal feels so devastating. It's not just about losing them, it's about losing access to those projected parts of yourself that you've outsourced to their presence. The confidence, warmth, or sense of belonging you admired in them were always your capacities waiting to be claimed. The relationship became a substitute for your own growth. This isn't about becoming them, it's about reclaiming the disowned fragments of yourself that you've been seeking externally. Jung reminds us, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The very traits that magnetized you to this person are signposts toward your own unmet wholeness. Grief is not something to overcome, it's something to transform. Jungian psychology teaches us that our deepest wounds contain the very materials needed for our rebirth. Like the alchemists of old who sought to turn lead into gold, you too can transmute the weight of heartbreak into something luminous: self-knowledge, resilience, and a truer capacity to love. Begin with active imagination, one of Jung's most powerful tools for working with emotion. Instead of resisting your pain, engage with it consciously. The fire mirrors an essential truth. What you're grieving isn't just a person, but the fantasy of what they represented. The future you envisioned, the version of yourself you believed they could help you become, the illusion of control over love's reciprocity, these are the real ghosts haunting you. Mourning the fantasy means facing two liberating realities. At the heart of Jungian psychology lies a radical proposition: your greatest heartbreak could be the catalyst for your most profound becoming. This is the process of individuation, the lifelong journey of integrating all parts of yourself, both light and shadow, into a cohesive whole. When you lose someone who didn't love you, you're given an unexpected gift: the opportunity to reclaim the fragments of identity you had outsourced to the relationship. This stage isn't about moving on in the linear sense, it's about moving inward. As Jung wrote, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That becoming requires grieving the versions of yourself that depended on another's love to feel real, and daring to trust the one that remains when all else falls away. Jung's concept of synchronicity reveals a profound truth. When we release what no longer serves us, the universe responds with meaningful coincidences that guide us forward. These aren't random accidents, they're signs that you're aligning with your deeper purpose. The moment you stop clinging to a love that wasn't meant for you, space opens for connections and opportunities that actually are. Consider this real transformation. A client once clung for years to someone who kept her at arm's length. When she finally did the work we've outlined, facing her shadows, withdrawing projections, alchemizing grief, something remarkable happened. Within months, she accidentally met someone who reflected back her worth effortlessly. But more importantly, she discovered creative talents she'd suppressed while obsessing over that old love. The rejection she'd feared became her rebirth. This is the alchemy of surrender. Your present heartbreak contains the exact nutrients needed for your next evolution. Like compost transforming decay into fertile soil, your pain is breaking down old patterns to nourish new growth. The love you couldn't receive from them? It's returning to you as self-love. The attention you poured outward? It's becoming creative energy. As you stand at this threshold between what was and what will be, remember, the universe specializes in resurrection. Every ending in nature precedes a beginning. Your job isn't to control the timeline, but to stay open to the signs, that unexpected opportunity, the new friendship that feels like home, the sudden clarity about your path. These are the universe's way of whispering, "I have something better for you." Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these steps resonated most deeply? Was it the moment you recognized your projections, or the breakthrough you had while working with grief? Let me know in the comments below. Your story might be the light someone else needs. If this video helped you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Jungian insights on love, shadow work, and self-discovery.